Alright, first and foremost, I want to give all praises of honor and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Yahweh Kwakutash, and the balance unto the apostles and the elders of great men, so that surely do well. Peace and blessings unto the Akim, of you that push this word in all sincerity and in all the truth. To all the legends, this is the matter now from Trinidad Campus. Coming through the Spirit and the power of the Lord to do a video to edify the saints and to warn the flock of the times that we're in, and the times, first I want to say that the times we're in are very terrible and very dreadful, but the elect of the Most High have nothing to fear. Understand? The Most High said, let him be a fear and let him be a dread. Understand? So the men of the Lord have nothing to fear. But for these, for these kids and for these heathens, and for the most part, it's gonna be some dreadful times. But let's go and read this article here. It says importers, food prices may rise. It says brace for increased food prices and less variety of goods on the supermarket shelves. This, as the Supermarket Association of TNT, SATT, says some supermarkets and smaller distributors are in for a trying time in 2021 as they continue to be faced with several challenges, the biggest being lack of foreign exchange. It says SAT's President Rajiv Dipti told the Sunday Business Guardian that businesses might very well be operating with 20 to 35% less revenues as a result of damaging effects to the economy caused by COVID-19. 20 to 30% less revenue, so that means 20 to 35% less income. Understand? Let's go now. He said, jumping down to here, he said expected price increase is the fault of no organization as it remains a global problem. It is a blameless game. There will be increases along the way for 2021 based on the foreign exchange situations. Brands and stock keeping units are disappearing completely. If we are 30 brands in a product, that will now be scaled back to 20, Dipti said. As a result, he said the hardship of doing business continues to rise for the average supermarket, as this then creates an unbalanced playing field. So as the Prime Minister said as he was elected, he said hard times ahead. His first speech, he promised them, prosperity while he was campaigning in his manifesto, and as soon as he won his first speech, he said hard times ahead, and he wasn't lying. So it says on increase right here. He says on increase in food prices. He said it is very difficult for distributors to increase prices because the economy remains slow, coupled with growing job losses. Understand? So what happening now is it's just plagues being fulfilled. It's just things that the Most High, prepared for the end. And at this present time, it's happening. Understand? In Matthew 24 verse 7, it says, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. It says, and there shall be famines. Look up the word famine. It's Greek as limos. Limos. It says scarcity of harvest. Famine is scarcity of food. Through dirt, famine, hunger. So these distributors not being able to bring in the large supply as they could have before. As they say, the COVID-19 affected them and damaged their businesses. Also, they have problems accessing foreign exchange or US dollars. So, however it may be, whether in this country or in Jamaica or in America, however it may be, the Lord causing famine, the Lord causing all these things to happen for His words on His name's sake, so that everything that He prophesied gonna be fulfilled. You go to some Jake and say this country gonna have a famine, and they say that not a famine, they just had a shortage of foreign exchange. A famine is when nothing can grow. Guess what? A famine is when the place scarce with food. Understand? It says all these are the beginning of sorrows. So you hear about a famine and the Lord saying all these are the beginning of sorrows. You wonder what next? What next, boy? And that is what you Jakes had to ask yourself. What next? Where see the elect not gonna ask yourself what next. The elect gonna know what next, because we know the series of events that is to take place. And we know the reason why it taking place. Matter of fact, I get 2 Ezra 7 verse. You're gonna be on top. You're gonna be seen. Like how they highly admire buildings, they highly admire Donald Trump, the American president, they highly admire the Queen, they highly admire. It says, He answered me and said, this present life is not the end where much glory doth abide. Therefore have they prayed for the weak, but the day of doom shall be the end of this time, and the beginning of immortality to come, wherein corruption is past, the day of doom. The day of what? Destruction. The day of war. Before these things happen, before that happen, they have a series of plagues to take place. And one of those plagues are famine. One of the plagues to come is famine. The Lord tell Ezekiel 14 verse 12. Select 12 verse 17. It says, moreover the word of Yahweh came to me, saying, Son of man, eat thy bread with quaking, and drink thy water with trembling and with carefulness. What it means to eat your bread with carefulness. Talking about fear, with caution, with anxiety, heaviness, sorrow. Quaking, it says, quaking, rattling, shaking. It goes down, it says, vibration, bounding, uproar, commotion, confused noise, earthquake, fierceness, quaking. In those days, and in the days to come, your neighbor gonna seek your life because you don't have bread to eat, you don't have food to eat, you don't have water to drink and quench your thirst. So even men gonna turn cannibals. You gonna be meeting neighbor. You know, some people that their children will be meat for them. Some people would eat their own flesh. Why? Why would people do these things? Because there is no bread, there is no food, there's a scarcity of food. Therefore, there's a famine. It says, and say unto the people of the land, thus saith the Lord Yahweh of the inhabitants of Jerusalem and of the land of Israel, they shall eat their bread with carefulness, and drink their water with astonishment, that her land may be desolate from all that is therein, because of the violence of all them that dwell therein. The Lord sending these plagues because 99% of the world's population is wicked. The only one that are righteous are the Lord's elect, and the Lord gonna cleanse the earth before he destroy, Babylon. Before he bring in his kingdom, he gonna send plagues to destroy the people. Understand? This is 2 Ezra 15 verse 19. It says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor. Matter of fact, 2 Ezra 16 verse 18, it says, woe is me. Verse 17, it says, woe is me, woe is me. Who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death. Beginning of famine and great death. The beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. So these plagues are sent as what? Basically licks, or basically a whipping to change, for correction, because that would amend mean to fix or to correct. But for all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Verse 22, it says, for many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall die, shall the sword destroy. So the Lord gonna send these famine people thinking that it's gonna have bread forever. They're not gonna have bread forever. Everything in as your pastor tell you, and as your prime minister tell you, everything gonna be alright. No, everything ain't gonna be alright. Destruction coming. Lord said, prepare to meet your maker. It says 2 Ezra 15 verse 19. It says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor. Going back to what I was saying, you had to eat bread with quaking and with fear, and with trembling. It says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods, because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation. So even your neighbor gonna destroy your house with this sword and spoil your goods. So the little food that you might have stored away, your neighbor gonna break in your house and steal your goods, just because of a famine. How will he say a hungry man is an angry man? When you can't satisfy your belly, some men go mad, some men go crazy. Understand? He says, let me read it over one more time. It says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and shall spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. Now they say that their businesses were, affected by COVID-19, with the lockdowns, and then they go on to say that this year they might have even more lockdown because they have a new strain, a more deadlier, version or variant of the COVID-19. So they're gonna have a lockdown businesses again. It's happening in the UK, it's happening in Australia, in New Zealand. Soon they're gonna come to Trinidad and Tobago. So these are the things you, as a man, you're supposed to be looking out for. You people are being distracted by social media and entertainment and sports and all these different things, but your eye not on what really going on, really taking place. Your eye not single, your eye, evil. You're studying how to make it in this wicked place. How to be friends with Esau, how to be accepted by Esau. And just for that, the Most High gonna destroy you. At the end, you're gonna end up taking out the RFID microchip. Sirach 39 verse 28. It's verse 27. It says, all these things are good, are for good to the godly, so to sinners they are turned into evil. There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction they pour out their force. And what time we in? The time of destruction. So it says 2 wars are past, and behold the truth cometh quickly. The third war, which is the Third World War. The Most High gonna bring all these plagues before those nukes, got shut off to the various targets. It says, in the time of destruction they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. Look up that word appease. It means to satisfy. So you're gonna satisfy the wrath of him, or fulfill the wrath of him that made them. And that is who? The Most High, the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. But those are spirits, and he said, scripture says that he's the Father of all spirits. So you're gonna satisfy him. You're gonna satisfy the judgment that he laid out for these wicked people. It says fire and hail and famine. Fire and hail and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance. It says teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serpents, and the sword, punishing the wicked to destruction. So all these things were created as judgment, as punishment, for these people. This is Lamentations 2 verse 19. It says, arise, cry out in the night. In the beginning of the watches, pour out thine heart like water before the face of the Lord. Lift up thy hands toward him for the life of thy young children that faint for hunger in the top of every street. And going back to those days, a worldwide famine, like a meat, like a water, like a bread, like a flour, like a rice, like of every single thing. It says, behold, O Yahweh, and consider, to whom thou hast done this. Shall the women eat their fruit, and children of a span long? So the Most High gonna cause even the women to eat their own children. The young babes, the young sucklings. It says, shall the priest and the prophet be slain in the sanctuary of the Lord? Yes, the Lord gonna cause these things to occur. Why? Because the place is full of evil. This is Ezekiel 14 verse 12. It says, the word of Yahweh came again to me, saying, Son of man, when the land sinneth against me by trespassing grievously, then will I stretch out my hand upon it, and will break the staff of the bread thereof, and will send famine upon it. I will cut off man and beast from it. So when the land sinneth against the Most High by trespassing grievously, the sin without fear. They're breaking each and every commandment that the Heavenly Father, because the thing that they become lords. The thing that they become that there isn't that God again. They think that the Lord's judgment, because they've seen it, that the Lord don't exist. The Lord gonna stretch forth His hand and break the staff of bread. Say the weight of a man's heart is his belly. That's why people run down money to get power to satisfy their lust. The Most High take away number one. what kind of people live off of? The bread of meat, the physical bread. When the Most High take away that, you're gonna die. You're gonna weep. Understand? It says, then will I stretch out my hand upon it, I will break the staff of the bread thereof, I will send famine upon it, and will cut off man and beast from it. So the Most High ain't spare no one, except His elect. It says Isaiah 3 verse 1, final precept. It says, for behold, the Lord Yahweh of hosts doth take away from Jerusalem and from Judah the stay and the staff, the whole stay of bread and the whole stay of water. You understand? So the Most High going to take away your bread. That's why these things are happening. It's a slow boil again. A slow cooked. They're being slowly cooked. They're being slowly put to death. And you ain't seen it. How the scriptures say? For when they shall say peace and safety, then shall come sudden destruction. Understand? So with that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh. Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Arakak Nash. Peace and blessings unto the Akim. All they that push this word with all diligence and all sincerity and double honors unto the apostles, else a great millstone. I surely do well. Until next time, I want to say shalom.